All right, we got Christy here. I see your beautiful face. Thank you for being here, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, Fran. You got your
Fran and Linda. Nice. Hello.
hello, awesome. Mila, welcome, welcome. Hello, Mama. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Kim. We had a call earlier. Woo woo. Emily, welcome. Hey. And we have Lauren here. Welcome, welcome. And as people are coming on in, I invite you to write in the chat, where are you joining us from? We want to know where in the world you are. And as I field a few little text messages of like, I can't get in.
Always the fun of the virtual world.
Totally. Always a little element.
Ooh, Denver, Colorado. Lovely.
Welcome, Marianne.
Wisconsin. Nice.
Welcome
City.
to Denver, Madison. Woo woo.
Oakland Bay Area. That's my hometown. Nice.
Ooh, this is my beloved Lauren. Hello, Lauren from Sedona as well. Yeah, I'm just figuring out how to let some people in, y'all. So again, if you're just joining us, let us know in the chat where you are coming from.
Hi, Tam. Good to have you join.
Woo-hoo. All right. Getting settled in. Welcome, welcome, Teresa. Good to see you again.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here, ladies. Sorry, for some reason my phone doesn't like Zoom very much. So it's always,
we're not going to see your beautiful face. We would love to.
but I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Sedona, we got our Sedona crew here. Does anyone else from Sedona practice yoga with Nicole? Either actually, if you're anywhere, is anyone here a yoga? Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm raising my hand because I am as well a huge Nicole fan on multiple levels, and so honored to be bringing this amazing being to the Body Temple community. And I welcome all of you. And we're going to get started here and just let anyone who wants to come in as they do in the next few minutes. If you have a candle, I did write that. It is no pressure if you don't, but if you do have a candle, it's always a beautiful thing when we come together in sacred community to ignite the light, external and internal. So if you do not have an external candle, no problem. You have your internal flame. And I will light a candle for the collective here. And as you light your candle or connect with your inner flame, it's all actually connect with our inner flames. I invite you to take your hand onto your heart. And as we place our hand on our heart here, let's first draw inward to ourselves, and then we can gaze around and see what beautiful beings have arrived here today. So I invite you not only to place a hand on your womb, but also one on your belly. I'm sorry, your hand on your heart and also on your belly. And you may or you may not have a womb there, but this is our energetic womb as well. This is the chakra region of creation. So you can drop into that space. Perhaps even closing your eyes or letting your gaze softly fall towards the floor. And as we invite this gentle inward turn towards our breath, welcome yourself here. Welcome all parts of yourself here, your body, your heart, your emotions. Taking a breath to welcome your mind. Taking a breath to welcome your soul, to welcome your spirit, your highest self. Drawing our energy inward towards our center. And with our hands on our body, we can open to this intention to fully open to receive this sacred knowledge, to receive our own insights and reflections, to receive our own hearts and our souls, and to receive our bodies on an even deeper level. And taking another delicious breath into your sacred body, maybe feeling your heartbeat under your top palm here. And if it feels right, to also welcome in your ancestors or your ancestresses, those who have benefited from this sacred knowledge and those who didn't necessarily have access to the sacred knowledge in the way that we do today. And as we take one last delicious breath into this sacred body temple, into this sacred vessel, we dedicate this gathering in service to the highest and deepest good of all beings across time and space, to our ancestors, to our descendants. And as it feels right, I invite you to slowly open your eyes and draw them first to your palms or your skin, and maybe touch your skin gently in a loving way, orienting to yourself first. When you're ready to bring your gaze to this sacred circle that has gathered here today, if you don't have group view on, you are welcome to hit that button in the upper right-hand corner so you can see the amazing beings that have gathered. Yeah, beautiful. And I invite you just to find the eyes of one being here, one being that you're intuitively called to, and to simply witness them and welcome them. Maybe you give them a little bow. You're welcome here. I see you. Yes. All right, loves. So we are settled in. We are here together in this beautiful space to remember this ancient knowledge. And it is my absolute deep and profound pleasure to be hosting the amazing Nicole Tierre Thompson today. I don't know, do you still go by Thompson? Or you just go by Tierre?
Yeah, Tierre is actually my middle name. So
Okay.
yeah.
I always just
What
know
do I do?
that. Well, we are recording. Yes, we are recording. So I will be introducing this amazing being in just about a few minutes. But before I do, I want to ask you whether you identify as a woman, you identify as a partner, however you identify in your gender. I want to ask you what comes up when you think of women's hormones. Like, what comes up for you? Like, what is the word? What is a word? And just write it in the chat. So let's see the variety. Like, what comes up with hormones? Could be general, could be like the shift in hormones. Like, what kind of words? Volatile. Yeah, keep them coming. What words come up in our cultural repertoire in this
Volatile.
realm, crone, yes, mood swings, crone, one of my favorite words, extra emotional, imbalanced, wild, dynamic. Yes, 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 yes. Keep them coming in the chat, sharing what
Emotional.
arises, what kind of word, what kind of texture comes up around this word of hormones. And ooh, yeah, the cycle, the teenager, perimenopausal, unpredictable, tidal, powerful, fluid. Yeah. Let's see how our relationship to this word shifts over this journey together.
Inner heat.
Inner heat, intense. Keep it coming. Power, yes, Marianne, I'm with you. All right, loves. Yes, you can keep them coming in the chat. And I want to, for those who are new, there's really just a few people who are new to me. So just really briefly, if you are new to me, I'm Haley and I'm the founder of Body Temple Mystery School and Priestess Path, which is the portal through which we are hosting this event. This is part of our like guest series for Mystery School. And it is my journey to really support women to connect deeply with the sacred and ancient teachings that live deep within our bodies. And we do that for the benefit of all beings of all genders across time and space, to liberate our ancestors, to liberate our descendants. And I would love to just take about 2 minutes to situate where we are in mystery school. So I know several of us aren't, some of us are in mystery school, some of us aren't on this journey. And I want to just I'm going to give you a sneak peek into our framework for mystery school. And that will give us just a little psycho-spiritual context for this moment in time in the life of women's hormonal health. We're focusing specifically after 40, but it is all going to be up and alive today. I'm going to ask you, I know this isn't perfect here because like it's not my audience window, but do you see the feminine medicine matrix? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Okay, great. And then you don't see like my whole screen though, do you? Like with all my tabs, everything, right? Say no if you don't. Good, because I don't want you to, because there's a lot of windows up. Okay, so just briefly, this is the miracle of all of our bodies. And this is the miracle that is our hormonal system, is that the seasons of the year, as well as the cycle of the moon, is mirrored inside of our body. And it is not just the hormonal cycle that those who bleed or have bled, or those who love people who bleed or have bled, that we go through this cycle every single month, but also in our lifetime, we go through this cycle. So just to find yourself in the upper right-hand corner, we have the spring, we have the birth up at the top with the dark moon, and then we have the spring of the hormonal cycle. We start to get our little dose of estrogen, we start to get all those little goodies, and the creativity starts to rise. We head towards the summer, we hit ovulation, this time when we are like so replete with hormonal support and we are like unstoppable. And then we start to dive into the autumn, the inner autumn, and all the way into the crone phase, into the winter phase. So I'm going to take us off that share just to say that this moment in time that we are looking at, that we're inviting Nicole to shed some light on for us, is really the post 40s move us into that inner autumn. And I'm here in Sedona, like many of us, and I can see outside right now, I literally have my first leaves on the ground right now. So we are literally almost there in the year where we are like in the autumn, and we are heading into this moment when what the earth asks us to do is really asks us to draw our energy back in, and ask us like, how are you spending your precious heartbeats and your precious breaths? So this is a sacred moment of the year as we prepare for the hibernation of the winter, but it is also a sacred moment in life. It is a moment when we are receiving, just like the trees are receiving their energy down into their roots at this time and harnessing their power into their root source. And of course, as a result, the excess starts to fall, the bullshit starts to fall away, right? That which wants to be composted starts to fall away. This is the potency and the power for all of us as we move into this phase of our life, whether we are there, whether we are in the winter phase where we are no longer shedding and we are holding the potency of our power as the crone, as the crowned one, that we become the power of the blood. So with that, I want to pass it over to this incredible being and say that Nicole is not only a dear, beautiful sister, but is also one of the most amazing yoga teachers that I've ever experienced. And she is an incredible Ayurvedic practitioner. And I want to just share that as a student of hers, she just has this potency, this power of really helping her students find their personal way to strengthen their own bodies. And I know that that is her role as well as an Ayurvedic practitioner. And she's going to share a little bit about her background and her story of how she came to this work. But Ayurveda is really her tool for supporting people in all phases of life to really step into their highest expression. So I am honored to just turn off my mic, pass it right over, and we'll take questions at the end. Yeah. And if you're new to Nicole, we'll give you ways to reach out and contact, to connect with her work and dive deeper with her. So Nicole, it's all you.
Well, hello. It is lovely to see friendly faces that I know very well and new faces that look friendly that I'm excited to get to know better. Yeah, my name is Nicole Tierre, and I consider myself a yogi and an Ayurvedic practitioner. So let me tell you about my journey, because I think that it's nice to kind of hear where we've gotten on our certain paths per se. So, I was born and had a lot of health issues. So from a very young age, about 5, actually when I was born, I had a ton of autoimmune stuff. I had asthma and eczema and allergies. At age of 5, I got alopecia, so my hair fell out. I had Raynaud's, which is where, it's a vascular disease. So your fingertips go white. So I just had a lot of stuff happen when I was little. And knowing what I know now, I know why. But when I was growing up, I had a lot of insecurities and challenges with feeling comfortable in my body. I didn't feel comfortable in my physical form. So that started me down this path as I got older to find different ways to, be embodied, feel comfortable within my skin. And some of the paths I started with running. I was a big runner. I lived by the ocean when I was growing up. So I was just like, it's free. It's easy. Why not? All I have to buy is a pair of tennis shoes and I've got it figured it out. So I did it. I really loved running. It was this moving meditation for me that got me really in my body, into my breath. It was empowering. I loved it. Then I had a friend one time, she's like, just come to a yoga class. It's like one of those college classes, you get 6 of them for, $30 or something like that. I was like, sure, whatever. And I remember we did pigeon I'd never done pigeon pose. If anybody's done pigeon, you're like, what is this pose? It's just like so opening, it's emotional, and it was insane. So I was hooked, absolutely hooked. And from then on, it was 3 days a week, if not more. I just would go to every yoga class I could find. I found senior teachers. I kind of self-professed became a yoga nerd. Like I wanted it all. I wanted to hear what people had to say, both the physical form, how to move my physical form. And then as I got older, I realized that there was so much to the energetics of yoga. So then I started developing more curiosity and awareness of the breath work and meditation. So Through that journey, I did my yoga teacher training in Chicago. I worked with several teachers that I absolutely adored, and it was only for my own learning. I had no intention of ever teaching yoga. It was not my thing. I didn't want to be a teacher, not interested. But, as life goes, one friend had a class that she was sick and she's like, you just have to teach my class. You just have to do it. And so I got into it and I loved it, because what I found was when you become a teacher of something, you then become the teachings and you remind yourself over and over of the power of the practice. So I went down the road and I went down, the rabbit hole, quote unquote, of yoga. I traveled all over the world. So I studied with senior teachers that had been studying for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Some of the teachers that went to India in the 50s and 60s, they were back here teaching. And I loved hearing what they had to say. I loved the simplicity of their knowledge. As they aged, things became really simplified, which I thought was really beautiful. And then I started hearing these trends, which was really interesting, where all of the senior teachers I was working with, they either had an Ayurveda practitioner or they started to study Ayurveda themselves. And I was like, this is interesting. What is this about? So when I really wanted to go deeper into my health and healing, I was in San Francisco, I was living in the Bay Area, and I had a lot of health stuff coming up again. I had digestive issues. I was in a partnership that wasn't also healthy, and I couldn't find my sense of self. So I decided to dive into Ayurveda. And the interesting thing that I found was the simplicity of it and the power of it. And I'm going to give us a little overview of it today, but it helped me fix my digestion. My sleep got up leveled. Like, I didn't realize how bad my sleep was until I actually got a good night's sleep. I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. It completely changed my mindset of what health looks like. I've been working in the healthcare industry my whole career. So I've been a project manager of large clinical trials my whole career. I'd worked in hospitals. I never did pharmaceuticals per se, but I did a lot of program management, or looking at the last part before I transitioned into my work that I do now. I ran an acupuncture study. So I ran a multi-million-dollar acupuncture study that looked at the effects of acupuncture on pain and mindset of people that were dealing with pain. So really powerful stuff. So that's kind of my background. I would say for myself, I have a foot in both worlds. So I both know the Western medicine world very well, but I am leaning more and more into the Eastern model of health and healing, because I see it as being more powerful, and I see it as having a higher impact on individuals. And we'll kind of talk about why. But ultimately, as Haley mentioned earlier, my goal is to have everyone that comes to work with me be their own best teacher. This is what's so beautiful about yoga and Ayurveda. It's not about looking external. It's finding these tools where you become internally focused. You see that sense of self, your physical body, your mental body, your energetic body, and how you are your best teacher. So that's background on me. I want to start with a very quick disclaimer. It's always good to do with any health discussion. So for people looking for medical counsel, although this information and the ideas and perspectives contained in this topic, they're perspectives, they're my view, they're my lens of this ancient science of yoga and Ayurveda. They've been employed for thousands of years. These are from the Vedic scriptures. These are not new ideas. These are things that we would say, our ancestors have been using for lifetimes. So we're just getting back to it. It's almost just tapping back into that ancient knowledge that has already been there, always been there. So this information should not be taken as medical diagnosis or treatment. So I just want to just throw that out there. And a key element of Eastern philosophy, so Ayurveda, yoga and Ayurveda, is that each person is individual. So no single recommendation, no matter how sound it is right for everyone. For any medical condition or personal medical, herbal, dietary, or lifestyle advice, always consult a qualified healthcare practitioner. Okay, so you're more than welcome to reach out. I'd love to work with you, and it's good to know that. Okay, so what is yoga and Ayurveda? So let's do just a quick little tap in. So they are considered sister sciences. This is a quote by Dr. Halpern. He is the director of California College of Ayurveda, which is where I did my studies. He says, yoga and Ayurveda are closely related. They are often looked at as two sides of the coin, of one coin. In fact, Ayurveda is the healing side of yoga, and yoga is the spiritual side of Ayurveda. Together, they encompass a complete approach to well-being of the body, the mind, and the spirit. So, okay, yoga and Ayurveda, they strive to help a person reconnect to their true nature through direct experience. So combining them both will lead a person to the path of perfect harmony and optimum health. Who doesn't want that? Okay, yoga. So yoga is the science of helping the mind become clear and pure. A clear mind is not affected by stress. A clear mind produces a healthy body. Clear mind is aware of deeper spiritual nature or connection we have to the world and those around us. So it's understanding that we are part of a bigger energy, that we are tapping into some deeper energy rather than just this physical form, this energetic body. And I would say this mental body, because the mind, as much as we love it, it can go off the wall sometimes, right? So we have tools for that. We have tools for that in yoga and Ayurveda to see the mind, where it's going, where it wants to take us, and to retrain it. And that's one of the things that we talk about in this discussion. So yoga focuses mainly on the physical postures, which we call the asana, breath work, which is pranayama, and meditation. And these prompt the mental and physical well-being of an individual to become clear and peaceful. So Ayurveda translates to the science of life. All dis-ease in the body is the end result of forgetting our true nature. And our true nature is that we are, in essence, spiritual beings. We are connected to something beyond this physical form, this energetic body, this mental body. And so that's the beauty of Ayurveda. So they would say that any dis-ease in the body, so disease that comes up, is that we're forgetting that we are connected to part of something way beyond this. Ayurveda uses diet, herbs, aromatherapy, color therapy, sound therapy, meditation, detoxification. That's a big one in Ayurveda. Panchakarma is where we pull all the toxins from the tissues of the body and we put it in the digestive tract and then we flush it. So that's a big, beautiful process. I work with people on that. And a key element after that is rejuvenation. So not just purging toxins from our system, but then building up new good tissue. And then creating a harmonious lifestyle to rebalance the body. So it's all about balance. You're going to hear that word coming up over and over and over. Balance, balance, rebalance. In Ayurveda, lifestyle is creating an optimum environment in your body for healing to take place. If you get out of the way, your body will heal itself. I want to and it's such a powerful process. I've seen it in my body. I've seen it in people that I work with. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Your body wants to be in harmony as much as it can. In an optimal environment, the body can reach its greatest potential. Okay. So I would also say that you're coming here to live out your dharma, your work, your life path, your work that you have to do here. And so when you are truly balanced, you are able to fulfill that. We say in Ayurveda, where there is harmony, there is health. And where there is disharmony, there is dis-ease. disease. Okay, here's another quote by Dr. Halpern. He says, healing ourselves with yoga and Ayurveda is indeed a journey. It is not a quick fix or a magic pill. It heals us at the core of our nature, in essence, through the transformation of consciousness. It is a discipline in harmony with all of nature. As we practice, we grow and evolve as people. Stress is reduced, harmful emotions dissipate, sorrow is no longer, joy and peace return to our lives, our internal energy builds, and our eyes shine radiating with the light of life itself. Have you ever seen someone where you just like, they just radiate? You can see it in them, right? And I get that reflected back. I know, thanks. You're so sweet. Thank you, Haley. But I feel that sometimes when I get that message back to self, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, and I give myself a moment of pause. I'm like, yeah, I feel really balanced right now. And so it's a beautiful thing to notice in others and receive from others. Okay, Ayurveda, like this is what we're going to talk about ultimately. It's all about finding balance. Okay, but the question is, what are we balancing, right? So what is it that we're balancing? And this is where it gets a little tricky because sometimes when you start Ayurveda, it feels like there's so many things that you're balancing. But if once you start to notice these themes, you'll start to realize that you're going to become your own best teacher and understand how to balance various different things in your life. So the main things that we're thinking about through Ayurveda are 5 elements. So in Ayurveda, we would say that all humans, all human incarnations that are here on this earth, and animals as well, plants as well. So they all have a unique percentage of 5 elements. And I'm going to go from the most subtle to the most gross. So I say that because ether is connected to our head, which is the connection to spirit, that which is beyond. And then the heart is connected to air. So that's the next one. So we've got ether and air. Your stomach is related to fire, metabolism. Your female organs or reproductive organs are connected to water. And we talked, Haley actually mentioned it, but creativity, that bringing new life into the world is part of that creativity. And then earth. So the pelvic floor would be the earth element. And that's that structure. Even when you think of the pelvic floor, when you're meditating, right, you have that firm seat that you're grounded from, that you lift up off of when you meditate. So within that, we all have this unique percentage of each of those 5 elements. And there's 2 what we call constitutions that we're thinking about on top of that we're balancing. We have our innate constitution, which is what we have come into this world to live out. So in Ayurveda, they would say that the moment of conception, the moment the sperm connects with the egg, you have a unique percentage of all of those 5 elements that you've come into this world to live out. You also, within the sperm and the egg, you have the energy of the man and the woman at the time of conception. So if anyone is thinking about having children or reproducing, the energy that you're creating at the time of conception influences the incarnation that you are bringing into this world. Okay. You also have the soul's purpose. So the dharma that you are, well, we would say karma, the karma that you're coming in to live out in this world. And that's based on your ancestral. So your ancestral lineage that's just coming through your DNA from the man and the woman. So that's also coming in. There's have some unique elements that are coming in there. And then the final thing we would say is depending on where the planets are at the moment of conception. So that's where we get our astrology within Ayurveda, which in Ayurvedic terms, it's called Vastu, not Vastu, Vedic astrology. And so those are practitioners that look specifically at the moment that you were born and looks at the planets and specifically what you're coming in here to live out. So, okay. So that's one, you've got your innate constitution. So what you're coming in this world to live out. Then you've got what you call your Vakruti, which is your current imbalance. So based on all of your life experiences, the culture you were brought up in, whether you were living in the United States or in another country, whether you had different diseases in your life that shaped how you see things, what you went through, um, different foods that you were exposed to when you grew up. All of these contribute to your Vakruti. So within Ayurveda, we are trying to find the balance of bringing your Vikruti, your current imbalance, back to your Prakruti, your innate constitution you came into this world to live out. Well, it's hard. It's easier said than done, but that's kind of what we're working towards. That's kind of our work of balancing things. So there's lots of different ways you can find out what your doshas are, both your innate and your current. I will just do a quick plug for the Ayurvedic reset that I run. I run this seasonally, so it's tied to the seasons. And the next one's going to start October 7th. And we do a doshic test in that, that program. So it's a 3-week program where we learn the ancient science of Ayurveda, and then we apply the techniques for 3 weeks and see how you feel. You journal, you notice how your sleep is, you work on healthy eating habits. You're just creating a lifestyle where you're as in harmony with the life that you came here to live as you can. And actually, Christy has done it. Yeah. Yep. Which is awesome. Fran and Linda are going to do the next one, which is awesome. So if you're interested in that, I'll give you more information, but highly, highly recommend that program. Okay. How many hours it takes. So let me answer that at the end. Yeah, we'll ask questions about the perfect, about the Ayurvedic reset. Okay, so then all of those 5 elements, they make up 3 doshas. So you might have heard this before, but the Vata dosha is made up of movement and air. So that's ether and air. So the space between everything is ether and air. Pitta dosha is fire and a little bit of water. So this represents digestion, breaking things down, metabolism. And then Kapha is the structure, the container. So this is water and earth. And then within that, and we'll go into a lot more of this with the Ayurvedic reset. So if any of this is of interest, take part in the program, you'll love it. So within that, we say that there's subtle bodies. So prana, life force energy, is connected to air, the movement. That's the subtleness of movement. And that's the mind, the movement of the mind. Tejas, so that internal heat, the discernment, your ability to understand what's happening in this world. And then Ojas, this is a big one. We're going to talk about this. So Ojas is connected to Kapha, but it's the water and earth, but specifically it's the structure that we hold. So it's also, we kind of talk about it as like the raincoat in a storm. So you're still going to go through life's ups and downs. You're going to go through the crazies, but it's not going to take you out. You get a little wet here and there, but it's not completely taking you down. So a lot of people, as we age, we lose our sense of ojas. It's just life. It's just part of living in this world. It's a lot. So how do we use the ancient sciences of yoga and Ayurveda to thrive in our 40s? And this could be, you could be a little bit younger than 40, you can be older than 40. But ultimately, these sciences are allowing us to get deeper into our understanding of our body and what it's doing for us at our age. And I do mean that. Our body is always wanting to keep us balanced as much as it can. It is trying. If we get out of the way, it will try to balance itself. So let's talk about some of the hormones in our body that for this talk. So I just want to do, so this is a book that I absolutely highly recommend, and I'll give it in the notes later, but it's by Dr. Claudia Welch, and she is an Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine practitioner. I love her work. I've been working with her for many years now. Her book is called Balance Your Hormones, Balance Your Life. But this is funny. So in working with her, I love it. She made some comment one time where she was making this book, or she sent it to her publisher, and her publisher actually changed the title. Her original title was Balance Your Life, Balance Your Hormones. And she was like, no, 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 it's the other way around. So when it was rewritten, it was Balance Your Hormones, Balance Your Life. So it's funny because really our lifestyle is what was going to be the main thing that's going to balance our hormones. So I highly recommend this book. And I will say I've had so many copies that I've lent out to people. I'm like, where did that book go? And I'll just buy another book because it's going to be used. Yeah. Yeah. Balance. Thank you. And I actually accidentally just bought 2 the other day. I was like, no problem. I'm going to give it to someone. Like, oh, I got 2 of those. Highly, highly recommend it, especially on empowering yourself as a woman. Highly recommend it. She also does a lot of work with people in menopause. So this is one of her specialties. So if you want to dive deeper, definitely work with her. She's got great, great, great stuff. Okay, this is a quote from her book. She said, this is going to be key. Hormones are the ever-present servants of our mental and physical balance. They're servants. Each is secreted in one part of the body, travels to another part, and influences it to do whatever the body needs to achieve or regain its equilibrium in the moment. That could be signaling growth of new tissue, metabolizing nutrients in food, or increasing the heart rate. So for the purposes of this talk, we're going to talk about 2 classes of hormones. We're going to talk about stress hormones and sex hormones. So the first one, stress hormones, the 2 main that we've probably all heard of. There's others that are considered in this category as well, but we're just going to talk about 2. So stress hormones kick our bodies into high gear. They activate the fight or flight response, and they are necessary for survival. It's what allows us to swerve when we're about to get in a car accident. It's what allows us to kind of move to the side when we kind of feel like we're kind of in the way of something, right? It's the adrenaline spike, right? The little prickly needles when you almost trip and fall, but you're like, ooh, there it is. I'm up. You know, if you've ever been hiking and you almost trip and you get the needles and you're like, ooh, there I am. That's that adrenaline spike, which is great. That's accompanied with cortisol. So adrenaline is short-term stress response and decreases quickly. Cortisol stays in the body longer. It's essential for survival, but problematic when it's in excess. Both are produced in the adrenal glands. Keep that in mind. Think adrenal glands, okay? So then we've got our next category of hormones, and those are our sex hormones. So these lead us to calm our minds, slow down so our bodies can repair. They are nourishing and building to the body. So the 2 main, we've all heard of these 2. First is estrogen. Its nickname is called the juicy hormone. It keeps the body lubricated. It develops and maintains female sexual characteristics like breasts, stimulates growth of the uterine lining. And then we've got progesterone. So this prepares the uterus for fertilized egg and maintains pregnancy. It also keeps estrogen in check. So you want the balance between estrogen and progesterone. So they are balancing each other. Progesterone soothes the nervous system, buffers against stress, settles the mood, supports sleep, protects against autoimmune disease. Both are produced in the ovaries until menopause. And then, where do you think they are created? Adrenal glands. Okay. So you're starting to set a stage of why we want to know about both of these hormones and where they're created at different times in our lives. So stress and sex hormones exert opposing influences, yet serve to maintain equilibrium in the body and balance the mind. So when we hit menopause and our ovaries are no longer producing estrogen and progesterone, we then are asking our adrenal glands to produce them for us. So it decreases about 40%. It depends. It's going to slowly decrease over time. But we really want to think about how we are managing stress because we want to be really thoughtful about our adrenal glands. And everyone's probably heard of adrenal fatigue, right? Where you're chronically stressed to the point where the adrenal glands are fatigued. They can no longer effectively produce the hormones that we would like them to. And because our body is always trying to do the best it can for us, it is going to prioritize survival before procreation or soothing the system. So if you are living in a stressful state constantly, your body is going to produce adrenal or cortisol and adrenaline first. Okay. So we are what we would say in an epidemic of stress. You know, we all mentioned where we live, and some of us live in Sedona, which is great. But I also know those of us that live here came from very big cities, right? We once lived where people are above us and to the sides of us, and there's just energy around us. And it's normalized to move fast, to go and do and be and prove yourself, right? They're not bad things, but when you're doing it all the time and constantly, it's a lot. So we've normalized being on 24/7. The phone is on. We hear the ringing and the dinging constantly. We tap into news or social media constantly, right? So those are all going to give us spikes of adrenaline. Also, you know, the dopamine hit, the exciting hit. So we need to be thoughtful of this. So this causes hormonal imbalance. We just talked about wide, and it ages us quickly. So it creates that aging fast. Okay, so I'm going to read a little checklist and kind of see where I'm going to read off a couple things, and you kind of decide which apply to you. So these are going to be some questions. Check all that apply to you. Do you jump when the phone rings? Do you feel anxiety about checking your email? Do you dwell on the many things that could go wrong later in the day, later in the week, the month, or the year? Do you commonly feel stress, anxiety, or worry for no particular reason? Do you commonly feel anxiety, stress, or worry for any reason? Do you commonly have anxiety around family members? Do you have panic attacks? Do you have depression? Do you experience any of the following symptoms associated with your menstrual cycle? Headaches, mood swings, acne, bloating, constipation, heavy or scanty bleeding, painful cramping, irregular periods, pain at ovulation, or bleeding between cycles? Do you have any of the following? Hot flashes, insomnia, heart palpitations, accelerated heart rate, thyroid trouble of any kind, low immunity, infertility, heart disease, osteoporosis, cancer, diabetes, adrenal burnout, or endocrine disorders? These are all signs of hormonal imbalance. So these are all signs that our body is asking us to create a more harmonious diet and lifestyle so that we can rebuild our ojas, rebuild the container so we have a little bit more vitality to move through this world with ease. Okay, so 3 pillars to support our health and happiness: diet, lifestyle, and stress management. And lifestyle is also including exercise, so movement of the mind, movement of the body. When there is a crack in any of these pillars, dis-ease can creep in and take root. Okay, so we need good sleep, we need nourishing and healing foods, and we need supportive community. Supportive community is a big, big thing, especially as we age. So balancing your hormones is crucial to regaining your full health. And I do want to say this, and I mean this, you know, again, this is not medical advice. You can do this without pharmaceuticals. There are so many ways to balance your hormones through diet and lifestyle and herbs that you do not have to utilize pharmaceuticals. For acute situations, I think they can be very helpful at times, but long-term, they have side effects. So we just want to be thoughtful about that. Okay, so let's go on to perimenopause, this time of our life in the 40s. This is a Native American saying. I love this. It says, at her first period, a girl meets her wisdom. Through her menstruating years, she practices her wisdom. And at menopause, she becomes her wisdom. So we're already talking about the seasons of life, right? So those are their seasons. So when we first get our period, that's the kapha season, right? So that's the spring. We're creating, building new tissue. And then when we're menstruating, that's our pitta time of life. That's where we're creating babies per se. We're building companies, we're building families or homes or careers. And then we move into menopause, and that's considered the vata season. So that's winter. There's more air that's moving through our system per se, for some of us. And that's where we become our wisdom. So, all right. So let's see. We would also say that when we're going towards menopause, we're moving towards the vata season, where air and ether elements slowly begin to predominate. And this causes the body to become more dry and potentially less resilient to stress. And this because we're losing progesterone, right? So we're losing that hormone that helps protect us against the stress of life. This is a time to appreciate, but it's also a time to become more ethereal, so more connected to God. And this is how we come into the power of our universe. Okay. All right. So perimenopause, what is it? What's happening? It is a time of transition, about late 30s through our 40s, maybe early 50s. And this is where the body moves towards menopause, which is the cessation of menstruation for up to a year. So once you have stopped menstruating for a year, you would say you're in menopause. You decrease your production of progesterone, which we also already talked about as less tolerance for life stressors, and estrogen, which is the juicy hormone that lubricates the body. So a lot of times there's systemic dryness as we age. So that's something that we can work on balancing through diet and lifestyle. As hormones fluctuate, intervals between cycles can become longer or shorter in perimenopause. Periods can become inconsistent in the amount of blood shed. Women may have spotting before between periods or experience heavy or longer periods. This is a time that can be our best teacher. The enemy of tapping into our inner strength is stress. So allowing ourselves to really understand what's happening at this time of our life is crucial. When we age, life's stress levels may be the same, but our nervous system does not have the same capacity to manage it. So we have to be really thoughtful about what we're exposing ourselves to. This process may cause feelings of irritability, anxiety, sadness, or even mental fluctuations. And then, according to Ayurveda, the mind permeates the whole body and colors our experience. So the body's changing ability to cope with stress underlies many of the mental fluctuations women experience in perimenopause. So when we can make improvements to our body and mind with simple Ayurvedic practices, you can balance your hormones and you can address dis-ease in the body. So menopause, what is it? What's happening? So we already talked about it. It's where the cessation of menstruation for a year. You're no longer producing hormones, estrogen and progesterone in the ovaries. It reduces about 40%. And then you're relying on the adrenal glands to produce it for you. This is a natural transition for life for every woman. We all get this ticket. It's a beautiful ticket. Cash it in. It's where we become our wisdom. It's so powerful. In our society, we are not given that messaging, right? So we have to embody that. It's not necessarily easy. We can make it more easeful and more graceful of a transition. And this is a time to support yourself and your body in the next phase of your womanhood. It's the time to become more empowered and embrace your thriving wellness through later seasons of your life. So what I love to do, kind of thinking about as I age, is have people around me that inspire me as I age to see there's so many great examples of individuals in our community that are thriving as they age, you know? Um, some of them are on this call right now, right? So it's just, it's really important to see the power of these women that are aging well and gracefully and trying to empower and successfully empower their wisdom. I think of my grandmother, my father's mother. She moved all the way to the end. She was just such an embodiment of health and healing until she passed away, all the way to the end, which was amazing. Her mind never left her. So I have a lot of great examples from my personal family, but I also like to have community around me that remind myself of that as well. All right, this is the good stuff. So this is what we came here for. What do we do about it? How do we balance? How do we create this balance of our to allow ourselves to be hormonally balanced? Get to know your menstrual cycle and track it. So it sounds like you talk about this a little bit in the mystery school, which is great. It's so important. I don't think in our society it's emphasized enough to really know where you are in your cycle or what the cycles even are. So it's important to know where you are so when you can see when there's shifts to it as well. So this is key within this kind of 40s age. The first beautiful thing in yoga, we would say, it's called Svedhyaya, so self-study. I love that word too. You can just say it over and over, Svedhyaya. So self-study, it's maintaining a close observational relationship with your body throughout life and this process. So you get to know you, your incarnation, your mind, your emotions that come up, and see them as a precious gift. You become the watcher without judgment. So we all are going to age at our own pace, at our own time. So just allow yourself to be the watcher without comparing yourself to others. Big thing here. You can learn the first signs of imbalance before it derails you, and then you employ tactics to help regain balance. So I'm just going to do a quick overview because I think a lot of people know about these, but we'll talk about the menstrual cycles really quickly and the doshas that affect them during the cycle. It's an intricate dance that plays out each month. It's a dance, right? So menstruation, the start of your period. This is winter. We started this, which is great. That's the vata phase of life. So this is where it is the releasing of blood, the releasing of also toxins from your body. So a beautiful thing that happens in our body, your body accumulates all this blood. And then when you don't have insemination, it's like, okay, no problem. I'm going to take the trash out anyway. Why don't I look through other parts of the body and help you take out other things within your body? So this is a natural part of the process. So I don't know, have you ever heard that's one of the reasons why women live longer? You've heard that traditionally women live longer than men. They would say in Ayurveda, it's because we have this built-in system where we detoxify each month. So we're not just bleeding, we're actually taking out toxins from our body, which is amazing. So that goes from about 1 to 5 days. So it's the first moment of bleeding to the last day of bleeding. And then you move into your follicular phase. So pre-ovulation, this is spring, kapha season. This goes all the way up into ovulation. So this is 5 to 14 days. This is probably where you feel good. And this is also a time where if you're going to do a cleanse, time it with this cycle, follicular cycle. This is where it's great. In your menstruation time, even though you're taking out toxins, your body's kind of already doing something. Like don't give it too much more to do, right? It's already detoxifying. But when you're done with your cycle or almost the last day of the cycle, that's a really good day to start any cleanses that you want to do. And then you hit ovulation, which is the pitta phase. That's the fire. So that's day 15 to 16 approximately. And then you move into your luteal phase. So this is what we call summer autumn. So kind of moving from summer into autumn. This is also the pitta phase. It's where you're building blood. So you have to build up the blood in the system to release it, for either pregnancy or releasing. So this is the time where don't try to start a cleanse. It's not going to go well. You're pushing against yourself at that point. So it's just not helpful. This is also the time where you'll probably notice you're more irritable, you're more fiery, maybe like you've got a little bit more heat in your system. So you want to be kind of knowing what's happening there. So when you know your cycle, you can know what's working on the background. And this is helpful information so you can stay balanced. And then I really love this. So notice where your mind is during each phase of these cycles. So that's a really big deal. So you can kind of notice what's happening in your body. Appreciate your cycle while you have it. Each month, honor it and what it's doing for your body. Know where you are in your cycle and what your body's doing for you. So you can track it. There's some apps. It's not my personal preference to put my information into apps. That's just me personally. I do a note. I just have a note on my phone and I just put in when it starts and then when I can feel the ovulation because I can actually feel my body ovulate. Or here's a really interesting thing for those of you still menstruating. When you notice your body ovulating, you should get a little jelly discharge on ovulation. Look at that. So if it's really cheesy or curdled, it's a sign that you've got some toxins in the system that you need to get cleared out. You don't want it to be too runny either. So it's just kind of like a little jelly-like substance. It shouldn't be really smelly, but just maybe a slightly sweet odor would be ideal, but not too pungent is what we'd say. Okay, so how do we address it? So additionally, how do we address it? So the best medicine for irregularity is routine. Discipline and routines, especially self-care, healthy eating, or healthy daily habits are key. So when we can use knowing all this information, so now potentially you're in your 40s, we can use this information now to prepare ourselves for menopause. And this is the time where we can repair, heal, and nourish our bodies. So when we go into that Vata season, that that menopause season, we're not as dry. We're not as cracked. We don't have as much dis-ease in the system. So I'm going to go through, not super quickly, but slightly quickly, because we're going to do all of this in my Ayurvedic Reset program. So if any of this is of interest, definitely sign up for the program. So morning routines are crucial. Start your day off with gratitude, morning meditation, loving meditation, journal, take 10 breaths. You can make it really simple, but start off with gratitude. Appreciate that you came into this world again to live out another day. If you have a precious gift that you were bringing the world. Enjoy your breath. Cleanse the body. Take out the trash. So when you wake up, wash the sleep off. Take a shower, rinse your face. Tell yourself that you are in the world and you're ready for the day. You can also do a neti pot, eye wash. We're going to talk about this a lot on the reset. Warm water with lemon, start the GI tract, flush the digestive system. You got to poop. You got to take the trash out. I love talking about poop. I talk about it all the time. You do not want the trash sitting in the colon. You need to get it taken out constantly, every day. So if you have any type of when you travel, this is even more crucial. So if you have a lot of movement in your life and you are chronically constipated, there's lots of great, very easy ways to address this. Move the body and the mind. And even if you don't have a meditation practice, that could be running. It could be hiking, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. So there's so many different ways that you can move the body and the mind. Specifically yoga, the Mula Bandha. So this brings blood to the blood flow to the vaginal area. So Mula Bandha is a Kegel. So you're activating the pelvic floor. This is really good to do. It helps with dryness of the system too. And then healthy eating habits. So eating at the same time of day. Foods that are nourishing and calming to the nervous system. So if you're eating a lot of chips and popcorn or hot and spicy foods, it's going to create imbalance. You need to kind of create some more nourishing sustenance for your body. Healthy eating habits, we'll talk about this in the Ayurvedic reset, but more than what you're eating, it's how you're eating. So it's allowing your body to say, I'm in a space where I can actually take in the nutrients you are putting in the system. And then eating to balance the doshas. So eat real food that's as close to the natural source as possible. So I don't prescribe to any specific diet, quote unquote, but the more it is coming from its natural source and where you are creating the least amount of harm to the world and to yourself, so we'd say ahimsa, not causing harm or pain, is ideal. So that might mean you're vegetarian, that might mean you're a vegan. For some of us, they're building up our systems again. We need to eat meat, and that's okay. So just note that you're trying to do that with as least harm as possible. And then evening, have a consistent bedtime. Oils to lubricate the system are really helpful. So oil on the skin, on the body. And then 2 more things to think about. Rest and sleep are crucial to age gracefully. We got to slow down. Let yourself downshift. When you've slowed down, you can feel and receive life. You can drink in life. This doesn't mean you do less per se. You can become really efficient at what you do, and you become less reactive to life's ups and downs. So I'm a surfer. I love surfing. I think of it as having a really nice longboard on a 2-foot wave where you're just coasting, you know, the wave is behind you, supporting you. And it's not like you don't have a little bit of here and there, you know, crazy happening, but generally you're just cruising the wave. So that's the ideal when we're rested, when we're feeling good. Embrace doing less. This is kind of going against our society's messaging. It's okay to do less. Okay. And then the last category that I will say is we have to change our mind around aging. And it sounds like within the mystery school, we're already doing that, which is so beautiful. But menopause is a sacred time in a woman's life. It's when we age. So when we age well, if it's a beautiful transition into our wisdom, and we can feel fully embodied. I had a friend one time when I turned 40, she was just like, don't worry, it keeps getting better. I was like, really? She's like, yep, it does. And I keep checking in with her. She's just like, yep, it keeps getting better. Right? And we're heading into a whole new adventure in our lives, this journey of being a woman in this lifetime. And I love that you already brought up the crone archetype. So we have to rethink the crone archetype. This is a time where knowledge becomes wisdom, and we get to share it with the younger generation. This is part of our work, our dharmic work in this world is to share our wisdom. So get excited about it, excited about the slow transition into the next phase of our life. This is a quote that I found about the crone archetype. It is about finally living in authenticity, doing what we enjoy and saying no to those things that we do not enjoy. It requires a knowing of ourselves that often requires a period of solitude, reflection, and meditation before our rebirth. The crone, the wild woman, the grandmother, these elders are valued in ancient cultures for their deep intuitive wisdom that they are able to impart. So balance your life, balance your hormones, and allow yourself an easeful transition into the next phase of your life. All right. Get excited. It's fun. And it keeps getting better. Woohoo! All right.
Yes, beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. Oh, Nicole.
Yeah.
I want to open us to questions, but first I just want to ask, where can we find you? How can we learn more about your upcoming reset?
Thank you. Thank you. So the first thing I'll do, let me put in the chat the easiest way to get on my mailing list. Let me see if I can find the window that I thought I had that is evading me. Here we go. So sign up for my mailing list and you'll get updates on all of my stuff. Let's do here, chat. And that's at on my website, NicoleTierre.com. So you can sign up for my newsletter. I'll send out an information email on the reset that's happening October 7th to the 24th. So that'll go out soon. The early bird discount goes till the 20th of September. So I highly recommend that, signing on for that. Also, if you want to do it with someone, because we all know the best way to make changes within our life is to do it with someone. Do it 2 for 1. So you sign up and you get 2 people. Yeah, it's a great deal. So pull in a partner, pull in a mother, a daughter, anybody. It's very empowering. And when you share it with someone, you can talk through what you're learning for self, which is really, really powerful. All right. Any questions? And I look forward to working with anyone, with y'all. It's a fun journey.
I've got questions. I've got a question for you. And before I do, I want to also, I'm going to drop something in the chat for those who are, who want to track their cycle. Like there's a cycle tracker, as well as, I literally wrote an ebook on embracing all the seasons of your moon cycle. So if you want to, if you're still bleeding and if you want to be with that, but honestly at any phase. So I'm going to drop that. For those who don't have it, everyone in mystery school has it, but I am curious about hormones. So you know, just any, I'm sorry, the hormonal support, like, because I have, you know, many sisters who are at that precipice, and like many clients who are at that precipice who are, you know, choosing yes or no, and like experimenting and playing with hormonal support from, you know, pharmaceutical hormonal support. So just like, you know, anything that comes up around that, like any guidance or any, like anything.
Yeah. I think for a lot of individuals that are dealing with very acute symptoms as they're going into menopause or as they're in perimenopause, I think it can be a short-term help. All of the literature for long-term use is not great, to be honest. So I would work with an Ayurvedic practitioner, and really there's some great herbs that are very gentle, and what we would say they have side benefits. Shatavari is a beautiful one. It's absolutely great. Banyan Botanicals is one of my favorite herbal companies, that they have formulations of things, and they have one that is called Women's Support. So I really, really recommend that. That has Shatavari in it. It has some other ones, including ashwagandha, which is really grounding and helpful, nourishing for the system. So I would go with those. I would think about those. Yeah. And actually, the other thing to empower yourself, get the book, and she talks all about hormone replacement therapy in here, and the pluses and challenges of it. So, yeah. And the same thing I would say about anyone using birth control. So I'm not a fan. You know, I understand there are reasons that people use it, and ultimately there's a lot of side effects that can also come from that. So know, but that if you're in your 30s and 40s, that can be creating an imbalance unknowingly to your system. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, they have a great kitchery recipe. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Kimberly. And Kimberly, I like that you did the little like dance, because I do that all the time. The excited dance. Any other questions? I know we're kind of at time, but definitely reach out, email me, let me know if you have any questions. Highly recommend the Ayurvedic Reset, just to get a better understanding of Ayurveda and how to live the principles of balance and knowing yourself better.
We have a question in the chat that I wonder if we can slip in before we close. In lieu of birth control.
I didn't.
I'm sorry. It's coming to me directly.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I didn't see it.
Asking, what do you suggest in lieu of birth control? Oh, I love this topic.
Again, I'm not a healthcare practitioner. And so some of the best ways, and she actually talks about it in this book, there's various different ways. But knowing where your cycle is and knowing when you're ovulating is one of the best ways to do it. So you can take basal cell temperature, which can be really, really effective. There's different companies that where you can track your temperature so you know when you're ovulating, so you kind of know your window. And then with your partner, you know, hopefully you're in a sacred union and that's kind of what you're practicing, which is what I recommend. You are working with your partner around that. So you know that, you know, you've got a window that if you're not trying to build a family right now or bring another soul into the world, you're kind of abstaining within, you know, a 5-day window, you know, so. There are lots of other, that's just kind of the quick answer, but yeah. Any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, we could maybe take one more question. Feel free to unmute yourself or just pop it in the chat.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so lately, one of the thoughts about crone, one of the thoughts about the winter season, being a wise woman, also revolved around, and I'm a projector by nature, so it's an interesting thought for me too, but it revolves around overloading information
Mm.
on others. And I'm curious what Ayurvedic practices, what the wisdom there is in regards to sharing present to allowing other women to have their own answers. Are there any great quotes or great Ayurvedic conversations like this?
I think I missed part of the question. Did I miss it, or I
In,
think
in Ayurvedic, because
yeah.
I'm not real studied in Ayurvedic theory, which is Buddhism a bit.
It's Vedic. So it's Vedic in origin. It actually is not connected to any religious organization or religion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thought of being a crone or wise woman who has multitudes of information to share, and also a sage,
Mhm.
but also the reflection that you should let others come to their own wisdom and not constantly override their thoughts. And I guess I'm looking for another point of view, another quote, another idea to hold sacred in that balance, in that dance. And I was curious how you would feel and your thoughts on that.
So that's an interesting, I love that you said that. So I think that there's also two things that happen after menopause. So we actually have two phases of the Vata season, which they don't talk about too often, but they would say at menopause, there is this period where you go into solitude. So you become your wisdom, and then you come back and so you're able to kind of consolidate and really understand the wisdom so that what you're sharing, it has a personal perspective, but you're not putting your personal journey on those that you're counseling, in that you allow those around you to still have their dharmic path. They're still going to work through all of the things that they need to work through, but you become a guide. So it's almost like you're saying, go right, go left, go left. You're not being like, this is how you do it. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, I mean, dancing with this for a while, Haley knows we've had this conversation a couple times. I was curious to just get your quick 2 pieces on it too, because like I said, I am a projector. I enjoy helping my girlfriends. I enjoy helping anyone who asks about things. Also, indeed, they have their own answers. Indeed, um, I only have the experience of me and myself.
sometimes the greatest wisdom we can give to someone is asking for a reflective question where that they get to answer their own question, in that, right?
Mhm.
Have you both heard that, where someone's not giving you advice, they ask a question, you're like, oh, yeah.
Right, right.
That's where we become our wisdom. It's not that we have the answer for them. We just know the perfect question that they create their own best answer to.
Sure. Perfect. Perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
I told you it's going to be a fun little question.
That's
And
a great one.
you know, I want to chime in because one of the amazing thing about Nicole's classes is that she brings in the yamas and the niyamas and like yogic and Vedic philosophy. And it is so powerful. And the first thing that came to mind when you asked that question, Kim, was brahmacharya, which is often associated with sexual energy, but it's really like your energy. It's like the right use of your energy. Like, where is your energy most effectively used? And I feel like that's a big part as we age, is like, we're coming into that process of knowing ourselves more and being more wise in how we expend our energy. And when we, like, in relationship and conversations with others, like, that's such a beautiful inquiry for all of us, is like, is this the most effective use of my energy, let alone like universal energy?
Right.
You know, whether it comes in the form of advice or it comes in the form of silence or listening. And I often think of brahmacharya practice of like, I'd be curious, Nicole, how this relates in the actual practices, but it's like silence, like literally taking silent time, like at some point or going to sit in silent meditation is like, it literally is an opportunity to draw our energy inward to ourselves and to also, gives us a sense of like the weightiness of our words and the value of our energy when we do offer it, so that it is more profound, it is more potent, it is more juicy, it is more like,
Oh.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'd be curious if Nicole has any thoughts on brahmacharya.
Have you ever been around someone where just their presence is a teaching? Like one of my teachers, she eats so slow. She talks so slow, so opposite. I'm a Pitta Vata and I'm right? Like, so she is my teacher and she literally doesn't have to say anything, you know? And so this is one of the things that I find as we age, sometimes just our presence of being around someone, allowing ourselves to be in the company of people where we're just calm and supportive and kind. Just having a compassionate word can be sometimes the best teacher for someone, rather than pulling in someone's drama. You hear someone, you're like, I actually think if you just paused and just create a sense of quiet, then you could find your own answers. And so I think there's a piece of,
Oh, that's brilliant.
sometimes we want to fix everything, right? We want to have an answer for everything.
Out within too, right? The conversation is inside, right?
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Brilliant. Mwah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Oh my gosh, this was such a lovely discussion. And you can go through and, more and more rabbit holes of getting more information on all of this stuff. But I hope this planted a seed of curiosity of Ayurveda. It's a powerful practice and it's really, really lovely. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole. I'm just like, can we just not stop? Because I like feel like more like shares and like questions would be so juicy right now. So actually we're gonna close, but I just want to let you know, like, I will stick around for a few minutes. So if anyone wants to like share their experience, like feel free to hang out. And I want us all to just thank this beautiful being for offering her wisdom and all of her like vitality through her words. And what we do in mystery school, actually, you can all join with us, is we say, I see you. We take our hands up and we're like, I see you, girl. And then we honor you. We take our hands to our heart and then we celebrate you.
I love that.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, beautiful being. If you didn't get her link in the chat, or if you want the moon cycle, just make sure to grab that before you head out.
Yep.
And let's actually just take a breath to close. So I invite you to place your hands back on your heart or heart and womb. We'll just drop back inward to this sacred body temple. And feel inside of your own self what this has, what is alive for you? What is alive for you here? What sensations, what feelings? And honor that with your breath. Taking the hands into Anjali Mudra, let's bow inward to our own sacred heart, the source of wisdom. From the moment we come into this life to the moment we leave. And we bow to each other. Namaste and blessed be. Beautiful
Namaste.
beings. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was it was my honor to be with everybody. Bye, Emily. Bye, Kimberly. Tam, it was good to see you. Bye, Fran and Linda. Bye, Christy. Bye,
Oh,
Nina.
bye, Mila.
Christy, you look great. I like it. I like the earrings. Oh, you're on mute. Did you want to say something? Hold on. Let me do. Wait, can you unmute her? Or
Yeah, I'm asking her to unmute. So you just press that little button there.
I did. I am not very techy, ladies, as Nicole knows. I was
you do
gonna
great. You do great.
I was going to share some information, being probably one of the oldest ladies here.
Ah, wisdom. Let's hear.
Please.
On when you were talking about hormone therapy,
Yeah.
that was a decision that Mark and I made together. Going
Okay.
through, I was very young. I was in my late 40s.
Okay.
And my life had totally fallen apart with two parents dying and taking over the family business,
Right.
and then menopause, or getting into that phase.
Right.
And I took pharmaceuticals as you're usually prescribed,
Right.
and I just didn't like the way I felt.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't even on them probably. And I also knew the side effects. I mean, and we decided as a couple,
I love
no
that.
more. And I just, if I had been more knowledge on Ayurveda, much as that, all of it has been gained through you basically, and the books you provided or suggested.
Yeah.
I probably could have been easier, certainly for Mark, but I mean, it wasn't horrific from my perspective. You go through it. Like you said, every
We're all-
woman goes through it, but I think not the pharmaceuticals was absolutely the best thing for me. I felt better just plugging through on my own, trudging through on my own.
And I think a lot of people feel like that with pregnancy, or what am I thinking? Birth control as well. There's a lot of people that the kind of Western medicine has normalized being on them. And when you actually can get your body off of them and get yourself into a good cycle, and if you are having any of the symptoms, address them, you will feel so much better. So I think on so many different levels, again, acutely, I know it can potentially be very helpful for a lot of people. You also had such a supportive partner, which is amazing. I mean,
Well, that's true. And probably the other component, even though we didn't realize, I mean, we eat very healthy. We always have. I mean, not
Yeah.
all of our habits are the best, but we eat healthy, fresh, good, clean food. I love the whole idea though that was shared. I never thought of it that way. When you had your period, you were flushing out toxins too.
I know. Isn't that
So,
cool?
and then we women sort of do that naturally, and men don't have that. They don't do it certainly to that degree like we did monthly in our younger years. So that was a very interesting tidbit for me.
Very
So,
cool. Yeah.
and it was nice to meet Haley too. She seems very lovely.
She's lovely.
And she's here in Sedona?
Yeah. She comes to my classes. Yeah.
I
Have
can't
I
wait to
seen her
meet
in
you in
class?
person.
I'm going to introduce you next time you're both in class.
Okay. I won't
Excellent.
be in class this Friday. I have another art class, but I mean this Saturday. But yes, okay. I didn't realize that. I thought for some reason I thought Haley was from somewhere else, not one of us.
Yeah, one of you.
Good.
And
Sedona.
Kim is in Flag, so all of us are
Oh,
Like
okay.
Seth.
local here.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, great.
So
Well,
they're
we're all close.
get together for real.
Oh, Kimberly, I
Yes.
definitely want to connect with you.